In France, Audra finds Kyle working out shirtless in the maze. Sally comes up behind her and tells her good morning. "What an incredible view," Audra muses. "Yes, it is." Sally asks Audra what she's doing. Kyle grunts, gets up, and wishes them good morning. They remark on the loud rain last night. Sally hopes the lightning didn't damage the cell towers. None of them have had service. Claire and Nate must wonder why they haven't called. Audra's sure Genoa City is surviving just fine. All in their swimsuits, they continue complaining about the cell service as they prepare to lounge in the sun. Sally tells them Lauren, Michael, Abby, and Chance came last night. Kyle's surprised. He announces he's taking a dip to cool off. Audra watches him, and Sally asks what's going on. She reminds her Nate's faithfully waiting for her at home. Audra tells Sally there's nothing going on, then corrects herself to explain that they're starting their publicity stunt today. There's nothing between them beyond that. Sally saw her checking Kyle out. Audra insists it's strictly business and she'd never jeopardize her relationship with Nate. Sally warns her about trying to play Victor. It could blow up in her face. She's playing with fire. Audra knows exactly what she's doing. Nothing will happen that she doesn't control. Kyle gets out of the pool and asks to join them. He pulls up a chair, and Audra suggests they approach Dumas this morning. Kyle tells her they can drop Dumas now. He doesn't want to talk to him now that he's been revealed as Kane Ashby. Audra gawps. Why would he think that? Kyle and Audra debate the point. Kyle can't imagine getting Kane to choose a fragrance. Audra argues that he's a billionaire. Kyle insists the trip is a total bust. Audra doesn't want to leave early and miss the very special evening that's planned. Sally thinks this whole thing has felt like a game of smoke and mirrors. Billy appears as Audra complains that Kane could still be an asset. He says, "I'm with Audra. I want to stick around." Sally's irked by this. She snaps that they can find out about Kane's agenda back at home. Billy wants to at least stay for the special evening. Kyle can't see the point of staying. Audra refuses to give up on the idea that Ashby could be beneficial for her company. Sally recalls that Billy and Kane aren't close. He argues that he respects what he did to get back in everyone's good graces. Sally thinks it's a smokescreen for a shady business deal. Billy points out they may not have a choice but to stay. Carter told him the storm last night wiped out the tracks and the road up to the chateau. They might not be going anywhere anytime soon. Sally's starting to feel like a hostage, so Billy teases her, and they run off to get mimosas. Kyle complains to Audra about being trapped there. Audra agrees. She can't fall off the map like this. Kyle's sure Claire's wondering why they can't talk. Audra tries to reassure him about Cole and decides to cheer him up. She pulls Jabot's sunscreen out of her beach bag and admits it's the best. Holding it out to him, she asks, "Do you mind?" Kyle puts sunscreen on Audra, who asks if he really thinks it's useless to take her idea to Kane. Kyle feels there's no mystique surrounding him anymore. Jabot and Vibrante will come off looking like clingy hangers-on. It's not a good look for either of them. It's not the way to go. Audra decides they need a whole new strategy. Kyle agrees. They need a new stunt. Audra suggests they work on it together and come up with something memorable. "A little bit more on my neck, please." Billy and Sally return and spot Kyle touching Audra. He asks, "What's that all about?" Sally's been asking herself the same thing. Every answer she comes up with sounds more and more like trouble. Esther brings Claire and Victoria some tea at Crimson Lights and asks about Cole. Victoria says he's still in the hospital in Chicago. They came home to check on Johnny and Katie. The doctors are treating him, but there's been no change. He's been diagnosed with Legionnaire's disease, a rare and serious form of pneumonia. Esther's sorry to hear that. Claire vows he'll get better, but then breaks down. Nate appears as Victoria comforts Claire and hears her tell Esther how concerned they are about Cole. Esther trots off, and Nate approaches them to ask if everything is okay. Victoria fills him in on Cole's diagnosis and the treatment's not working. Nate learns his fever is still too high, but he's not yet on a ventilator. He tries to reassure them. Claire heard one of the nurses say that the doctors may not have caught it in time. Nate says it's true that Legionnaires has to be treated quickly, but healthy people can survive. Claire has to go home and bolts out. Nate thinks Victoria could use some air as well. Moving to the patio, Victoria thanks Nate for giving them some hope. Nate knows the fear they must be feeling right now. Victoria can't get rid of the knot in her stomach and hates Claire seeing her father hooked up in the hospital. The father she found again after all these years. Nate reminds her she found her mother as well. He will listen and absorb some of the pain if he can. She tells him he was a great doctor and hasn't lost his touch. Do you ever miss it? Nate's had doubts. He recently became close friends with a woman who has leukemia, and he felt lucky to be able to help. Victoria heard he found out he has a brother. Nate says, half-brother, and the woman is his mother. It's a work in progress with Damien, but he adores his mom. His brother will be joining them at Winters when he's back from Nice. Victoria's happy for him. Tell me something, Nate. She asks if he still harbors resentment about the way things ended between them. Nate has forgiven Victoria and let it go a long time ago. She tells him she has regret. They have known each other a long time. It made her sad that she lost the friendship. Nate says it makes him sad too, but things worked out as they were supposed to. She found happiness with Cole. Victoria hopes this nightmare will be over soon and Cole will recover. She's worried about Claire. Nate recalls that Kyle's in Nice too. Victoria sighs that he's totally unreachable. She could really use another friend right now. At the Overlook, Claire has a panic attack. Holden appears, shirtless, and calls her name, trying to calm her down. He coaches her to take slower, deeper breaths. Close your eyes. Close your lips. He counts her breaths, and she finally regains her composure. He asks if she's okay. She nods. Better than I was. He likes that. Claire felt like she was having a heart attack. He asks if that was her first panic attack. She says yes. He knows the feeling. He suffered massive anxiety in his teens. She learns he was the captain of the football team and had to be cool. He asks what happened. Claire says talking about it might bring another attack. She doesn't want to think about it. Holden assures her he is there to help. Claire asks what Holden was doing up there. He was on his nightly run. It's a stress reliever. He saw her by chance, and it was obvious she was upset. Claire's glad he did. He was happy to help out. Claire tells him she can go back to his run. The next time she sees him, the Vespers are on her. Holden says there's no time like the present. Claire says, "Let's do it." Holden and Claire arrive at Society. He tells her to pick a seat, and he'll get the drinks. Her phone rings. It's Victoria checking on her. Claire tells her she's fine and needed to clear her head. She ran into a friend who helped her calm down. Victoria is glad and talked through some things with Nate too. They expressed their love. At Crimson Lights, Victoria disconnects from Claire as Nate brings another drink and something to eat. She fills him in on Claire. She's curious who came to her rescue. She chides Nate for remembering her favorite cake and promises to have a proper meal soon. Victoria appreciates his thoughtfulness and forgiveness. He jokes about her father holding a grudge, but he wants the best for all of the Newmans. She asks about him and Audra. She doesn't trust her and is surprised he does. Nate thinks she's learned some things, and he feels getting out from under Tucker's hold was good for her. Victoria still has a hard time believing she's changed. At Society, Holden puts the drinks down and says they're just what the doctor ordered. This triggers her, and she admits her dad is facing a medical issue. Holden apologizes. She doesn't want to talk about it. They toast to the healing power of Vespers and to her good fortune in running into him tonight. He thinks he was the lucky one. Claire asks Holden if he actually lives in LEA, given he's in Genoa City so much. Holden explains he lost his job in California and has to work out where to work and live. Claire sees he's dealing with stress as well. Holden feels stuck and isn't sure he wants to go back to LA. He likes the low-key jam of Genoa City. He thinks he'll stay with real estate investing and just made a connection with a company buying up key properties in town. Claire hopes it works out for him. Holden will put some positive vibes out there for her and her dad as well. She's grateful that he found her. He thinks they found each other. They toast. Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Kane Ashby's plan to have Chance Chancellor look into his would-be killer won't go according to plan. Someone indeed wants Kane dead, but the show obviously isn't getting rid of Billy Flynn since his Y&R run is just getting started. Kane will survive whatever's in store for him, but Chance may not be so lucky if he gets tangled up in some fatal drama. Regardless, Kane feels confident that someone is going to try and kill him before the week's over. Phyllis Summers has a knack for snooping, so what if she finds out there's a threat to Kane's life? We could definitely imagine Phyllis trying to use a situation like that to her advantage. Phyllis is always working hard to strike deals, so she might strike a killer one next. Perhaps Phyllis could vow to figure out who's after Kane and expose his biggest threat for a price. No one would be surprised if Phyllis worked this angle to score herself a Kane partnership and some career-related promises. After all, someone else will have to solve the crime if Chance perishes saving Kane. That's especially true if the killer remains on the loose and could potentially make another attempt on Kane's life. Since we know a murder mystery is on the way, it makes sense for fans and all the characters to remain in the dark for a while. It'd be easy for Y&R to show only a pair of gloved hands, at least until they're ready to reveal news about the culprit's identity. No matter how it all plays out, Phyllis seems like the perfect character to go poking around. Maybe Phyllis will be the one to crack the case. She could certainly try if a lucrative deal is on the line. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Phyllis will inevitably have a few tricks up her sleeve, so we'll bring you updates on any grand plans that might be in the works. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that love will remain complicated on the CBS soap. The show may have 3 messy romantic reunions in the works, so let's talk about the hot couple revivals that Y&R's setting up. Now that Aristotle Dumas has been revealed as Kane Ashby, Lily Winters is furious and confused about how her ex-husband even pulled off this double life. Of course, there's a thin line between love and hate, especially on a daytime drama. Lily wouldn't be so hurt and outraged if she didn't care so much, so that's important to keep in mind. Kane isn't giving up on the idea of reuniting with Lily, but she thinks he's delusional for holding out hope. This is the perfect soapy setup for Lily to eventually surrender to her true love down the road. It's going to take some time for Lily to get past her issues with Kane, but it'll happen eventually. This Kane recast will lead to a romantic reboot with Lily as well, so we'll bring you more news on their future. Next, we should talk about Victoria Newman and Nate Hastings, since the show might be paving the way for their reunion as well. In the June 26 episode, Nate comforted Victoria over Cole Howard's illness and reconnected with her in the process. Victoria even got confirmation that Nate didn't hold a grudge over things going wrong between them in the past. The dialogue continues to make things feel awfully ominous when it comes to Cole's fate. Cole isn't responding to treatment, so there are concerns that the doctors may not have caught his Legionnaire's disease in time. If that's the case, Victoria may need someone to lean on as she grieves the loss. Nate might be that person for Victoria, so maybe this could set the stage for them to reunite romantically when she's ready to move on. Whatever the case, the show just offered a great reminder of the intriguing chemistry Nate and Victoria bring to the table. As for Kyle Abbott and Audra Charles, this nice trip could change everything. Audra and Kyle may be on the verge of derailing their respective romances. So what happens if Audra loses Nate while Kyle loses Claire Newman? If Nate's moving back into Victoria's romantic orbit, that could leave Audra more open to reuniting with Kyle for real. It's clear that there's still some attraction there deep down. Since Claire has Holden Novak as another love interest option, Y&R might go with Kyle and Audra for a while. Audra and Kyle were previously more of a fling, but it'd be interesting to see them move forward as an actual couple. Kyle and Audra may try to fix the romances they're about to break, but will they end up turning to each other if they fail miserably? Although Audra and Kyle are playing games right now, this could potentially turn into a full-blown romantic reunion. The Young and the Restless spoilers say some complex love stories are looming, so we'll bring you updates on all the drama. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, June 27th, reveal that Lily Winters will react to some frustrating news. The storm wiped out the tracks needed to get Kane Ashby's guests out of there, so everyone will have to remain on the property for a while. Of course, Damian Kane will be glad to make the best of a bad situation with Lily, Since Kane has a special evening planned, Damien will no doubt offer to keep Lily company and distract her from all the former flame drama. Since Lily and Damien will make a daring move later, they may hit the sheets, or at least make out somewhere private. If that's the case, Lily may have to serve as Damien's alibi after the whodunit kicks off. Damien handled that knife on the train, so we have a feeling that decision will come back to haunt him eventually. During a conversation with Chance Chancellor, Kane predicted that someone would try to kill him by the end of the week. That could be a clue about an unsettling Friday cliffhanger being on the way. In the meantime, Nick Newman will put Kane through a grilling session. Y&R spoilers say Nick will worry about Kane's motives regarding Chancellor and whatever other tricks he's got in store. As for Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers, they'll face a traumatic reminder together. There'll be some incident that stirs up creepy memories for Phyllis and Sharon, so it'll be interesting to see what this is all about. It's possible there'll be something that reminds Phyllis and Sharon of their time as Martin Laurent's lab rats. However, we should also consider the possibility that Sharon and Phyllis will find a corpse. Both Phyllis and Sharon have their fair share of experience with lifeless bodies, so discovering one now would certainly be a traumatic reminder. One way or another, the Young and the Restless spoilers say things are about to take a disturbing turn in France, so stick with us for updates on all the chaos ahead. On The Young and the Restless, Victor and Kane, aka Aristotle Dumas, act as if they pose a significant threat to companies like Jabot and Chancellor. But are they really? I think not. Both Kane and Victor are billionaires, and that makes them among the richest in the world easily. Owning billions is a crazy amount of money to have. If you spent $1,000 a day, it would take you 2,740 years to spend $1 billion. But having this amount of money does not make you a threat to steal someone's company, as people in Genoa City might imagine. It actually doesn't. Okay, so that money can buy you the best lawyers and afford you to run a lawsuit indefinitely. And it can buy a smear campaign and fight allegations. However, you can't simply acquire a company. You can't buy controlling shares that aren't for sale. No. Jack Abbott and Victor Newman have been having this feud of theirs for decades now, and despite Victor despising all of the Abbotts, he can't really do anything except minor annoyances. People need to chill on all the scaremongering. He can hate Jack, he can even team up with Kane, and all their combined finances cannot buy something that is not for sale. They can buy the land that Jabot is on, sell it, and demolish the building in which Jabot resides. But Jabot is a company, not a physical entity, and it can operate anywhere. The Young and the Restless have built these two up to be monsters capable of anything and something to fear, like sailors of old feared the Kraken or some unnamed Leviathan. Are they both formidable and ruthless businessmen? For sure, and so is Jack Abbott. None of them lasted this long without being good at what they do. But neither Victor nor Kane has a magic wand. Victor runs his family like a business, demanding nothing but the highest loyalty from them. Still, it's loyalty to whatever Victor wants, no matter the questionable legality or loose moral boundaries. But people, there is no need to fear them. They are mortal like the rest of Genoa City, and can no more take someone's private company than they can sprout wings and fly themselves from the French Riviera and out of the laughable mess that Aristotle Dumas has become. Kane is about the only one with the clout to take a run at the heavyweight title. But will he? Will he rattle sabers with TGVN? Kane is easily his equal and far younger. Will Victor take a loss this season? For this writer, I don't want to see the man broken, just humbled. Yes, a nice slice of humble pie, a few dollops of karma, and wash it all down with a nice glass of about time. Vacations are always a time to relax and enjoy a little fun away from the real world, and the Young and the Restless, real-life couple is doing just that. Lyndon Ashby and his wife, Susan Walters, have been posting about their travels as of late, which recently included a not-so-easy day. The plan was to have an easy day, Ashby began, then went on to explain. Next thing I know, we're on top of a mountain, hiking across a ridgeline to another peak. However, after they had taken 27,000 steps later, the actor finally collapsed into Lake Lucerne in Switzerland. Susan should come with a warning label, he joked. I hate flying, but I'm actually looking forward to just being able to sit for a while." Along with the message, the actor posted 2 photos, one of the couple from the top of a mountain and another of Ashby collapsing in the lake. Of their climb, Walters posted a pic of her own with her husband of 39 years and shared, "With the man that gets me out of my comfort zone, makes me braver, and keeps me laughing through it all." Prior to that, while the couple stopped for a drink in Freiburg im Breisgau, Germany, Ashby posted 2 more pics of a funny mix-up that involved a fruity drink and a beer. "The waiter confidently placed the Aperol Spritz slushie in front of Susan and the beer in front of me," he stated. "Oh nein, mein guter Mann, das Slushie ist für mich." And if you're not fluent in German, that translates to, "Oh no, my good man, the slushie is for me." If you're wondering how that slushie tasted, well, Ashby's reaction to the empty glass said it all. "Alles hat ein Ende, nur die Wurst hat zwei," he stated, which means, "Everything has an end, only the sausage has 2. The Young and the Restless recap for Thursday, June 26th, reveals that Claire Newman and Victoria Newman will seem glum during their visit to Crimson Lights. That's where Esther Valentine will seek updates on Cole Howard's condition. Victoria and Claire will explain that Cole is still in the hospital in Chicago. The 2 of them will just be back in Genoa City to get some fresh clothes and check on Johnny Abbott, as well as Katie Abbott. There'll be some talk about Cole getting diagnosed with Legionnaire's disease and not really responding to treatment. Although Cole's fever will be down a bit, it'll still be too high according to his doctors. Nate Hastings will get the latest news when he pops up, so he'll insist sometimes it just takes time to find the combination of antibiotics. Although Nate will offer a pep talk about Cole's chances of beating this, Claire will end up having to go get some air alone. Nate will sense that Victoria could use someone to lean on, so they'll have a nice conversation on the patio. Victoria will worry that Nate might have some lingering resentment over the end of their relationship and how things went down at Newman, but he'll insist he forgave her a long time ago. At this point, Nate will only want what's best for Victoria and the Newmans, so she'll appreciate that. In the park on Thursday's Y&R episode, Claire will have a panic attack and struggle to catch her breath. Since Holden Novak will be out for a run, he'll spot Claire in distress and rush over. Holden will coach Claire on how to slow her breathing and will ultimately calm her down. Claire will wonder how Holden learned to do that, so he'll reflect on having to work through anxiety in his teen years. Although Holden will be willing to listen to anything Claire wants to get off her chest, she'll just want a distraction. Holden will wind up getting Vespers with Claire at Society, where he'll make the mistake of saying it's just what the doctor ordered. Claire's reaction will let Holden know he said something wrong, so she'll acknowledge her dad's Heath issue and admit she doesn't want to talk about it. After Holden confesses that he lost his job in Los Angeles, he'll talk about needing to figure out his next moves. Holden will want to stay in real estate, so he'll mention making a connection with a company that's new on the scene and buying up key properties in town. At one point, Claire will answer Victoria's phone call and confirm she's having drinks with a friend who helped her. After hanging up, Victoria will express curiosity to Nate about who came to Claire's rescue. While wearing swimsuits in Nice, Audra Charles will admire the view as Kyle Abbott does his workout outside. Sally Spectra will privately remind Audra that faithful Nate is waiting for her back home. Audra will shut down the implication that she'd be unfaithful to Nate, but Sally will mention Victor Newman's Kyle seduction stipulation and the deal Audra made. All of this will feel too risky as far as Sally's concerned, but Audra will maintain that she's in control. After Kyle returns from a swim, Audra will want to set up a time to meet with Aristotle Dumas, aka Kane Ashby, about their perfume rivalry. Kyle will insist that once word gets out about Kane being Dumas, the mysterious appeal of it all will be gone. Kyle and Sally will be eager to leave France, but Audra will still think there must be a benefit to sticking around, especially since Kane has a special evening planned. When Billy saunters over, he'll side with Audra about staying. Besides, Billy will point out that they might be stuck for a while anyway, since the storm wiped out the tracks last night. Kyle won't be happy about the lack of cell service, since he'll want to get in touch with Claire about Cole, but Audra will reassure him. Audra will also realize they need a new publicity stunt and will pitch the idea of working together while they're stuck there. After Audra convinces Kyle to put sunscreen on her, Sally and Billy will spy him slathering her up. Billy will ask what that's about, so Sally will worry about the trouble that's brewing. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Sally will continue to keep an eye on Audra, but it may not do any good. Amid Victor's diabolical plot to break up Kyle and Claire, Audra managed to wrangle herself an invitation to the French Riviera and convinced her ex-lover to come along. But as sure of herself as she is, a recent tease suggests that the scheme may hit a snag, and perhaps not in the way you might be thinking. Audra, of course, proposed a perfume battle with Jabot as a means of convincing Kyle to come along on the trip to Dumas's estate in Nice, France. Dumas being revealed as Cain Ashby could cause Audra to have to pivot when it comes to strategy. But there's little doubt she'll do just that. In fact, we've already seen her working her wiles on Kyle, and much to Diane's chagrin, tensions have eased between them considerably. But there are more twists and turns ahead. Indeed, in a newly dropped Instagram story, Audra's portrayer, Zuleika Silver, showed off a massive-sized script she was memorizing and teased. Trouble, trouble, lots of trouble, ahead for her character. Not to give too much away, but that incoming storm Cain referenced could play a role in keeping guests who would otherwise return home to Genoa City at the chateau, including Audra and Kyle. This would give Nate's girlfriend ample opportunity to follow through on what she's promised Victor, to make it appear to Claire as though Kyle cannot be trusted. Playing in Audra's favor is the total lack of cell service overseas. With Claire back home wondering why Kyle hasn't checked in on her amid Cole's medical scare and isn't responding to her texts or calls, she may already be creating scenarios in her head about what he's up to. After all, she knows he's with his former lover in Nice. Of course, Nate is also back in Genoa City and has had no contact with Audra. Conveniently, someone from his past will plant a few seeds of doubt about his girlfriend in his mind as well. Put all together, Audra's plans to compromise Kyle might just upend her own relationship in the process. But the trouble won't be that simple. There are still more twists and turns. Audra's about to get up close and personal with Kyle, in a way she hasn't since the two were sharing regular romps in a suite at the athletic club. We've all seen the preview with her asking him to apply sunscreen to her body, and as the two get closer, the attraction between them may throw Audra off her game. If Audra and Kyle find themselves irresistibly drawn into temptation in France, far away from their significant others, the ramifications would be explosive. Audra is playing with fire in more ways than she even realizes, given she has no idea that if she's successful in her mission, Kyle will have to leave Genoa City and pay Victor $5 million per the contract he signed. If she actually cheats with Kyle, it will doom her relationship with Nate on top of it. On the other hand, if Audra develops real feelings for Kyle again, she may not be able to go through with her plan to destroy him, which would leave her empty-handed where funding for Vibrante is concerned. So she'd have to try and pull the wool over Victor's eyes, which never ever ends well. Will Audra and Kyle get together in France? There's a good chance that they might. And even if it's emotional rather than physical, the huge consequences involved will still add up to lots of trouble. The Young and the Restless spoilers imply that Cain Ashby has returned to the canvas, and it looks like he has his sights set on reuniting with his ex-wife, Lily Winters. With that said, will the writers give fans a plot twist by presenting Aristotle Dumas with an unexpected romance? The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest that Cain has carried a torch for Lily all these years. He left the land of GC in 2010 and built an empire under the Dumas persona. However, it seems as if his heart continues to yearn for his ex-wife. In fact, he mentioned as such during the week of June 23rd-27th, even though for Lily, a romantic reunion is a hard no. So, could someone else come along to help him forget about his ex-wife and the mother of his kids? The romantic possibilities are plentiful for Cain, even though he may not know it yet. First off, Phyllis Summers has been chomping at the bit to work with Dumas, and that hasn't wavered since she found out he was really Cain. He agreed to hire her somewhere in his organization, so will he decide to mix a little business with pleasure with Red? Then again, Sally Spectra could be an option. Sure, she's with Billy Abbott right now, but considering the two are rivals, If Kane can snag Sally out from under Billy, this would only intensify their feud. What about Audra Charles? She remarked how Dumas/Kane was easy on the eyes when she first met him, and while she's with Nate Hastings, this romance might be living on borrowed time, considering her plan with Victor Newman to break up Kyle Abbott and Claire Newman. Who would you like to see Kane Ashby with? Comment below. Check out the popular CBS soap daily for your dose of Genoa City drama, and visit this site often for the most up-to-date Young and the Restless news and spoilers. The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest that Chance Chancellor's days in Genoa City could be coming to an end. After all, the character's portrayer, Connor Floyd, started a new gig in Salem, playing Chad DiMera on Days of Our Lives. Interestingly enough, the very role Billy Flynn left to join the Y&R as the Kane Ashby recast. Days filming for Floyd began the week of June 23rd, which means there's a good chance the CBS soap could write Chance off storylines for good. Should fans brace for a shocking exit? The Young and the Restless spoilers remind fans that Joshua Morrow revealed a murder mystery plot months ago during a cameo video with a fan. The timeline for that arc lines up with the current storyline that is unraveling in Nice, and all arrows point to someone meeting their demise in France at Kane Ashby's party. In fact, while guests were perplexed as to why Chance showed up to the fancy shindig, Kane took him aside and stated he had reason to believe that someone was trying to murder him, and he invited the cop to investigate the situation. In all seriousness, will Chance meet his demise trying to rescue Kane, or someone else, from a dire threat? Could he get shot, stabbed, or thrown off a cliff? The latter would allow a window of opportunity for Chance to return, right? With that said, there's always the possibility that a murder attempt is made on Kane and fails, all thanks to Chance. Could the French authorities be so impressed by Chance's work that they ask him to stay behind for a major role on their team? This would be a far less devastating plot twist and a great way to allow Chance to return. Then again, he may return to GC fine and well from France, only to be mentioned on screen from here on out. Only time will tell. Which couple could be on their way back? The Young and the Restless suggested a pair of breakups and a potential makeup on the June 26th episode. Are we being given a clue at not one but two future power couples? Sally is no dummy. She figured out right away that Audra's play for Kyle, officially only so that she can get Victor to fund her company, could derail her relationship with Nate. Audra assured her that everything was under control. Sally made a cynical face. According to Victoria and Claire, Cole is at death's door. They are very worried. While Claire freaks out and is calmed down by Holden, Victoria shares her concerns with Nate. The two have a warm and friendly conversation, especially considering how their own relationship imploded. Are we heading towards a scenario where Nate doesn't accept Audra sleeping with Kyle as just the cost of doing business and dumps her? Then Cole dies. Victoria is sad. Nate and Victoria reunite. Meanwhile, Kyle sleeping with Audra breaks up him and Claire. She gravitates towards Holden, and the two join forces with Victoria and Nate to take on Kane. Meanwhile, under no circumstances will Audra settle for Kyle. We see her siding with Kane. Wait, make that 3 new power couples. Picture it. It's Victoria and Nate, Claire and Holden, versus Kane and Audra, with Kyle and the rest of the Abbotts joining in to keep the Newmans at bay. Now we have a party. May the best team win. Will it be Nick to the rescue? Again? The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Friday, June 27th, assume that viewers enjoyed traumatized Sharon and Phyllis so much that they're ready for an encore. Here you go! Martin kidnapped Sharon and Phyllis and tortured them to the point where they took turns saving each other's lives. Then Nick and company rescued them, and they both processed their trauma. Sharon reconnected with her children. Phyllis went around town screaming about how brilliant she is, and why does no one want to work with a genius as stable as she is? Hey, we all deal in our own ways. The women thought their post-traumatic stress disorder was under control, but maybe they shouldn't have traveled to a French villa with a hedge maze impossible to escape from? What if they wander off together and get trapped together? Again, Victor asked Kane about his true motives. Kane remained mum. Lily, the mother of Kane's children, asked him about his true motives. Kane remained mum. Yet, for some reason, Nick is under the impression that he can succeed where others have failed. Nick decides it's his turn to play 20 questions with Kane. Now they'll really get to the bottom of things. Damien has been flirting with Lily, hard. Whenever she's had a moment of doubt or despair, he popped up like she'd said Candyman into a mirror. He clearly wants her, or he wants something from her. So far, he's been doing the chasing. But now Lily turns the tables. She's done being passive. Kane reminded her that's not a winning strategy. So Lily has a proposition for Damien. But is it personal or professional? Fans are shipping Sally and Nate as Y&R's next power couple. Sally and Billy, aka Silly, are one of the newest couples on The Young and the Restless. The duo is still in the early stages of their relationship and seem committed to each other. However, if they were to split up, fans believe Sally would be a perfect match for Nate. Y&R fans are always shipping characters together. One pair that's gaining a lot of support is Sally and Nate. The characters rarely have any scenes together, and there's never been any hint of a romance. But after seeing photos of Hope and Dominic at the Monte Carlo Festival, fans feel their characters would have sizzling chemistry. I've seen their pictures in Monte Carlo, and I wouldn't mind them pairing up. They look good together. I can't do Silly anymore, wrote one user. I was thinking the same thing when I saw them together. They make a handsome couple, declared one viewer. Another fan is ready for Sally to be single again. I want Sally to dump Billy so much. He has brought her down into boring territory. A Sally and Nate romance might not be out of the question. Nate will find himself single when a power-hungry Audra seduces Kyle. Meanwhile, Sally and Billy's romance will be tested because of their working relationship. With Phyllis scheming against them, Silly seems destined for Splitsville. With Sally and Nate nursing broken hearts, the two could find comfort and love with each other. Would you like to see a Sally and Nate romance? Share your thoughts in the comment section. Got a sizzling fan theory? Email news@soaphub.com. Yours could be our next hot topic. Has Phyllis and Amanda's friendship officially hits the skids? Well. It looks like the sisterhood between Phyllis and Amanda is cracking faster than a champagne glass at a Newman family wedding. Once confidants, allies, and occasional partners in crime, these two fierce femmes are now on the verge of a full-on Young and the Restless feud, and it's all thanks to secrets, lies, and one man, Kane Ashby. It started with Phyllis doing what she does best, sticking her perfectly manicured nose into someone else's business. Amanda's connection to Kane raised Red's ever-curious eyebrow, and she didn't hesitate to dig in. But when Phyllis tried to corner Amanda and play moral high ground, Miss Sinclair flipped the script with a scorcher of a clapback. What the hell is wrong with you? Do you ever think about anyone but yourself? Boom, mic drop. Amanda didn't just call her out, she put her right in her place. Phyllis may talk tough, but deep down, we all know she absolutely loathes being called selfish, especially when the person saying it isn't wrong. And Amanda? Cool, calm, collected. But not one to let anyone bulldoze her with that fake concern disguised as judgment. When Amanda drew the line, she didn't just set a boundary, she dared Phyllis to cross it. Now the question is, what happens next? Will Phyllis do what she always does when she's backed into a corner? Scheme, manipulate, and scorch the earth beneath her ex-bestie's feet? Or will Amanda step away for good, refusing to play games with a woman who only sees friendship through the lens of control? This fight has the potential to get dirty, and fans are here for it. Imagine these two dragging each other in the middle of society, dropping secrets like bombs and alliances like dead weight. If Phyllis decides Amanda's a threat, revenge is almost guaranteed. And if Amanda decides she's done playing nice, Red better watch her back. Amanda may be a lawyer, but she knows how to throw shade sharper than any cross-examination. Their friendship was built on shared strength and mutual respect. But when trust gets tossed out the window, what's left? Petty power plays? Emotional blackmail? Courtroom smackdowns? Yes, please. This isn't just a spat. This is a spark that could ignite Genoa City's next great rivalry. So buckle up, Y&R fans. The real drama isn't in the courtroom or the boardroom. It's wherever Phyllis and Amanda run into each other next. Will they go there? Michelle Morgan shared her thoughts on Amanda and Kane's dynamic on The Young and the Restless. The two are just colleagues, but they could become more than friends. Amanda never gave Kane a second thought since she never knew who he was. He was just the man who wrote her checks. Amanda and GC's other residents found out that Aristotle Dumas is Kane Ashby. Most women are attracted to him. What does Amanda think of him? In an interview with Soap Opera Digest, Morgan revealed how her on-screen portrayer feels about Kane now that he's come out of hiding. Does this mean their work relationship will change? "She's his attorney. She's his confidant," Morgan said. "She's really his right-hand man, or woman, and I mean, that's really all that we know right now." Audra is just getting to know Kane. Like Amanda, Morgan is just getting to know her new co-star. The two approach their characters' dynamic behind the scenes. "Me and Billy Flynn, we've sat down. We've talked a lot about creating our own backstory because not much was given to us. But we wanted these scenes to have weight, and we wanted to show that they had history," Morgan explained. "So we kind of created our own narrative that helped us build a connection that's stronger than just what you see on camera." This is the first time that Y&R viewers have seen Amanda and Kane interact on screen. Daniel Goddard left his role as Kane in 2019. At the time, Morgan had just returned to play Hillary's twin, Amanda. While the two have been in Genoa City at the same time, they never shared scenes together until now. "There must have been something that happened that bonded us, because Amanda is a huge supporter of Kane and everything that he's doing," Morgan said. She does question him, but they have this very open bond and this very direct way of communicating with each other that I don't think that Kane has with a lot of people in this situation. The two characters have already bonded off-screen. Morgan teased that Kane and Amanda have already built our own backstory. However, that doesn't mean that Amanda is going a lot with what Kane has done to his former friends. High-stakes drama is ahead for these characters. So everybody has to keep watching, because the Kane reveal is not the end. There's a lot of drama going on, and there's a lot that we have in store that gets very interesting, she teased.